Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going past the sleek designs and the silent engines. We're going to uncover the complex and, sometimes dangerous reality of the electric vehicle revolution. You see it everywhere, right? The promise of a greener future, of this amazing cutting-edge tech. But behind all the headlines, this massive shift in how we get around, well, it brings a whole new set of pretty complex challenges, especially around safety and sustainability. In this explainer, we're going to cut through the noise and figure this all out together. Okay, so let's dive right in. And we'll start with the vision. You know, the one that's got everyone so excited. The electric promise is all about completely reshaping the way we travel. And look, it's a powerful vision for a very good reason. We're talking zero tailpipe emissions. That means clear air for all of us to breathe in our cities. And we're talking about a smarter, way more efficient driving experience, all thanks to some incredible technology. This is the positive side of the story, the part most of us already know. But here's where it gets interesting. As EVs become more and more common, our sources are pointing to a new set of challenges that, frankly, we all need to understand. These are the surprising dangers that come with this new tech. So, EVs get rid of the risks of having a tank full of gasoline, but they bring in a completely different set of safety issues. So you have to ask, right? What exactly are these unique hazards that might just catch us by surprise? The risks really go way beyond what you might think. We're talking about the danger of high-voltage shocks after a crash, these really unique fire hazards, and even just the physical consequences of how much heavier these cars are. It's a whole new safety puzzle for drivers, and especially for first responders. Okay, so behind those crazy, intense battery fires is this thing called thermal runaway. Just imagine one tiny battery cell gets damaged and starts to overheat. It triggers a chain reaction, like dominoes falling, causing the entire battery pack to fail in this dangerous, self-sustaining fire that is incredibly hard to stop. And this creates a huge challenge for emergency responders. It's not just that the fires are hard to put out, it's that they can actually come back to life. A fire crew might think the job is done, only for that same battery to reignite hours later. That's a completely new and really dangerous situation for them to handle. Now, beyond the fire risk, there's something our sources are calling the silent threat. You know, we're all used to listening for traffic before we cross the street, but at low speeds, EVs are just so quiet. This really increases the risk to pedestrians and cyclists who just don't hear them coming. It's exactly why many new EVs now have to have artificial sound systems. It's a safety feature for a uniquely electric problem. So these unique hazards, they definitely paint a more complicated picture. But how do they, and just the whole EV experience, really stack up against the alternatives we know? You know, like good old gasoline cars, or even other options coming up, like hydrogen. When you actually compare them side by side, you see it's all about trade-offs. No question, EVs and hydrogen cars win big on tailpipe emissions. But then you look at cost, infrastructure. Gas cars still have a massive advantage in convenience, and hydrogen is, well, still very limited. The truth is, no single option is perfect. And for a lot of drivers, this is one of the biggest practical differences day to day. Getting back on the road in a gasoline or a hydrogen car takes, a few minutes? With an EV, even with the fast chargers, you're still looking at a much longer wait. It just requires a totally different mindset, especially for long road trips. Just think about hydrogen for a second. A full refuel takes just 3 to 5 minutes. That kind of speed is a massive advantage. It's a really stark contrast to EV charging, and it highlights why some people see hydrogen as a key player for things like long-haul trucking. Okay, so we've looked at the promise and the perils, but here's where the story gets really exciting. Innovation is constantly tackling these challenges head-on to build a safer, more practical electric future for all of us. At the heart of pretty much everything is the battery. Researchers are working like crazy to push for higher energy density, which for you and me just means longer driving ranges. At the same time, new breakthroughs in manufacturing are bringing costs down, which makes EVs more affordable. But the real game changer that's on the horizon could be solid-state batteries. They promise to be way safer, less likely to have that thermal runaway problem, and they can charge much faster. Now, think about this for a second. What if your car didn't just use energy, but could also supply it? That's not science fiction anymore. It's basically the next frontier. It's called vehicle-to-grid, or V2G technology. And it pretty much turns every single EV into a mobile battery on wheels.
Your car could help stabilize the electrical grid when demand is high, or even power your house during a blackout. It completely flips the script from being a strain on the grid to being a huge help. Of course, none of this works if there's nowhere to plug in. But the good news here is that public infrastructure is expanding, and fast. We're seeing more stations pop up everywhere, and, just as important, more of those ultra-fast chargers that are designed to get you back on the road in minutes. They're tackling that range anxiety problem head-on. So what's pushing all of this forward so quickly? Well, it's really a powerful mix of things. You've got governments setting stricter emissions rules and offering financial incentives. You have major companies switching their entire vehicle fleets over to electric for cost and sustainability. And of course, you and me. Consumer interest and demand are growing every single day as the tech gets better and cheaper. So when you take a step back, you realize that all of these innovations, the safer batteries, the smarter grids, the better infrastructure, they're all driving towards the exact same goal, creating a transportation system that is safer, more sustainable, and way more efficient for absolutely everyone. So as we wrap this up, it leaves us with one final thought. We've seen the challenges, but we've also seen the incredible pace of innovation. As we all move forward, what parts of this evolution, whether it's battery safety, charging speed, or how they connect to the grid, what will be the most critical piece to get right to make sure this massive shift is not just successful, but actually beneficial for all of us? It's something to think about as we watch this revolution unfold right on our own roads.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.